Please call the roll.
Mr. Tabergi?
Present.
Mr. Bob Culbertson? Here. Mr. Ray Culbertson?
Here.
And Ms. Benninghouse?
Here. I think somebody just came in the door.
And Mr. Schildmeyer?
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the written minutes of the September 22nd council meeting?
Madam President.
Yes, Don?
Make a motion to approve the written minutes of the council meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Don, second by Ray, to approve the written minutes of the September 22nd council meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Approved. On second thing on the agenda is to discuss making the written minutes the official record of council and committee of whole meetings. That is in our bylaws under G1 in the rules of council. So I think what you have in front of you is what we currently, how it reads. That's the electronic recording of minutes. And so if we want to, I'll open up discussion for thoughts, considerations. Anybody have any thoughts on whether they would like to go in that direction for the written minutes or keep it the way it is?
Madam President?
Yes. Yes, Valerie.
It's fine. There's no real outstanding case law, definitive case law yet on this issue. I know there has been some concern expressed about using recordings as the written minutes. We may I would recommend that we strongly consider going back to actual minutes as opposed to using the audiovisual recordings. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. Any other remark?
Madam President,
Yes, Ray.
I'm fine either way, but if that's the recommendation of the law director, then I'll support moving to the written minutes.
So you're going to make a motion to move forward with the written minutes being official record. Anybody want to second that?
Madam President.
Yes.
That's an ordinance form, our council rules, are they not?
Yeah.
I beg your pardon, I didn't hear you.
This has to be an ordinance to change.
Yes. But I'm going to ask Valerie, she could put it on the table for next week.
Okay, that's what I thought. Ray would make the motion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Chris, did you want to say something?
I wanted to second that.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the law director, Valerie, if you could put an ordinance on the table for next week.
Yes, I'll prepare that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So let's start with reports of administrative officials. Mayor Jonathan Stuchel.
Thank you, Madam President. A big thank you to the St. Bernard Fire Department, Local 450, and the St. Bernard Police Department for hosting Safety Day in the Village. Firefighter Jason Smith did a great job in organizing the event that brought partnering agencies such as CareFlight, UC Mobile Stroke Unit, Hamilton County Police Association, Underwater Search and Recovery Team, and the Amberley Village Police Department, Officer Alt, and K-9 Creed. It was a great opportunity for the residents to meet our firefighters and police officers, where there were live fire demonstrations. Again, thank you for the hard work on this, and we look forward to another great event next year. Shout out to St. Bernard resident Layla Kiner, who did a fantastic job organizing our Fall Fresh Market. Thank you to all the vendors and community organizations who participated in this highly anticipated event. Also, Trick or Treat in the Village of St. Bernard will be held on Monday, October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. And the Emmanuel United Church of Christ Fall Family Festival will be held on Sunday, October 30th from noon to 5 p.m. There will be kids' games, pizza, snacks, beer, trick-or-treat, so wear your costumes, karaoke, singing by Matt Armstrong, pumpkins, rock painting, belly up to the bar, and more. So let's help this organization make this a successful event, as they do so much for our village. I am currently working with our advisor who did our form of government study on scheduling the community engagement sessions. We're hoping to have the dates firmed up by the next council meeting. One session will be held on a weeknight and the other on a Saturday. Lastly, I would like to ask that we go into executive session to consider confidential information related to the business strategy and production techniques of an applicant for economic development assistance, which is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant for economic development assistance and the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project. And also, the individual that will be assisting us tonight from Alloy Development, actually basically let you know that I have given you all a proposal that I would like to discuss at the next council meeting. We'd like to have a presentation from them, but I wanted to just introduce Dan Ferguson, who is, of course, a part of that team. So wanted to, again, welcome him this evening, but I would like to ask that we please go into executive session as I described. Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes, Don?
I'd like to make a motion to go to executive session to consider confidential information related to the business strategy and production techniques of an applicant for economic development assistance, which is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant for economic development assistance and the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in conjunction with the economic development project. We'll do that now instead of at the end of the meeting.
Madam President,
Yes, Ray?
I'll second everything Don and Jonathan said.
Motion on the table, seconded, to consider confidential information related to the business strategy and production techniques of an applicant for economic development assistance, which is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant for economic development assistance and the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project. Do we have to take a vote on that? Or clerk, will you call the roll or for a vote?
Mr. Turkey?
Aye.
Mr. Bob Culbertson? Aye. Ms. Bettinghouse?
Aye.
Mr. Ray Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Schildmeyer?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays. We will go into executive session. The mics are on. Okay, we are now at executive session, and we'll continue on with our committee of whole meeting. So, anybody have a report for the auditor? Okay, we'll move on. Law Director Valerie?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. You have before you ordinance number 29, 2022, which is the revised, basically, VIBA plan ordinance. You voted down the one at the last meeting. This clears up the typo that we didn't catch, and again, my apologies. And Mr. Taberky had a concern about clearing up the language in the first paragraph, so I took care of that as well. So I'd like to have that placed on the table for the next council meeting. And I believe that concludes my report. Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes, Don?
make a motion to put ordinance 29, 2022 on the table next council meeting.
Is there a second? So ordinance number 29, there was a first motion, a second motion to put that on the table. So that ordinance will be put on the table for council next week. Oh, we have to vote. Sorry. We call all in favor of? Say aye. All not in favor of? Say nay. It'll be on the council meeting. Treasurer John Ungery.
I have no report this evening.
Thank you, John. Safety and Service Director Tom Paul.
No report, Madam President.
Madam President,
Yes.
if I can fill in for Mr. Paul's report here, actually, at this time would be a good opportunity. Well,
You
I'm
do.
going to use your time, so
Okay.
if possible. So I'd like to ask if we could have the fire chief, basically, because one of the important things tonight, we are within a little bit of a time crunch to honor a specific bid for the purchase of a new pumper. So actually, I was going to have Brian maybe come up and explain a little more if need be. But basically, what we're doing, we have a specific bid. The fire department itself and their team has basically chosen a particular manufacturer that they like to go with, spec'd out the truck. We have a price, and at this point, we do need to move on this, and the price will be honored by the end of the month. So it's something that we would like to try to get on the table for the next council meeting to vote on. And basically what was suggested by the auditor based upon where we stand with our reserves was to make a purchase outright actually on this particular truck. So if I could actually ask the fire chief to come up, he could actually be more specific as far as based upon the cost.
Good evening. So as the mayor explained, we met with the committee last Thursday, and we have chosen to go with an E1 truck, which is through Vogelpool Fire Equipment, which is over in Orlando, Kentucky. As I said, we had bids from two different companies, which was Sutphen and Vogelpool. The prices were within a couple $1,000s total when everything was said and done. So this would be a 2024 E1 custom rescue pumper. It's Cyclone chassis, Cyclone's cab, which is a little bigger than the one we currently have. Has a raised roof, pretty comparable to the current first engine we have, the 750-gallon tank. Everything's pretty much the same. There are we're deleting a few big cost items from the old truck, not from what I told you last or 2 weeks ago. We're not going to get a generator. We're going to use all 12-volt systems, so it saves us a little bit of money there. But pretty much it's the same type vehicle. I'm trying to see if there's anything major here. A lot of safety upgrades, but other than that, it's pretty much a very similar vehicle. It's a little bigger, a little more compartment space. It's a rescue pumper as opposed to just a standard pumper, so it's a little bit bigger, a little bit more compartment space. As the mayor also mentioned, there's a price increase with E1, which is taking effect the 15th. They've agreed to extend that to the 28th, which is the day after the next council meeting. If we would wait to go after that, it raises by $52,000. Yeah, so that's their next price increase. The Sutphen proposal was 10%, which was $75,000 raise, which would take effect, I believe, roughly $75,000. Don't quote me on the number, but it's about 10%, and that would have been the 15th. So that's kind of where we're at. Total price is, we end up being, let's see here, we end up being $726,000 and $246. That's the total. And that does include not only the truck, there's also probably $40,000 per se of equipment on that truck. So axes, pike poles, hose, nozzles, some things that are on the second pump we'll be getting rid of will be 31 years old at that point. So while we're doing it, we're going to go ahead and replace that equipment as well. So basically, there's a lot of that stuff will be new. We're not buying new rescue tools and some of the more expensive stuff. We'll move that from what we have now. But all the, like I said, the hose, nozzles, some of the hand tools, things along those lines, those will all be new. So, any questions? I've got pictures if you want to see kind of the idea plan for what it would look like. But if you have any specific questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
Madam President,
Yes, Don?
make motion to put orders on the table for the purchase of the pumper.
I'll second that.
A motion made by Don, seconded by Ray, to put an ordinance on the table for next council meeting for the purchase of a new pumper. All in favor say aye. Those opposed? This ordinance will be put on the table for next council meeting. Thank you.
Madam President, I do have
Yes.
one more thing, just in case the chief needs to follow up on this. So I did have a couple questions, not for the chief, but they came to me regarding this purchase. So based upon, and Brian, if you could actually just remind me the age of the reserve pumper that we currently have.
1993.
Okay,
So
so even though it appears as though we're replacing the 1993 pumper, the actual current frontline pumper gets moved to reserve status. The one that we're purchasing would be the frontline pumper. So just so that everyone understands, again, part of the importance that we actually maintain the newer equipment so that it also assists with us maintaining our ISO rating of 2. So based on our firefighting capability equipment-wise, being able to get the full points for that particular apparatus, basically you have 10 years on a frontline pumper, you have 20 years on a ladder truck. We're not even getting points for the 1993 apparatus
Correct.
anymore
Correct.
currently.
That's correct.
So, the frontline equipment, again, is where we're scored. So, again, the current one just moves to reserve status.
yeah, frontline pumper can be 10 years old, reserve can be 20, and like you said, ladder can also be 20. And that truck is currently, when it's replaced, it'll be 31 years old. So typically, we've always replaced our pumpers within at the 10 and 20 year marks. We've stretched it out a little bit, but I just had another $2,300 worth of repairs last week on that truck. So it's, again, we're trying to keep it on the road, but it's nickel and diming us to death. The other thing I did want to mention, I had a question from somebody outside of council. I'm not sure where it came from, but whether or not this was a competitive bid. So what this is we're actually purchasing that through a Sourcewell quotation, which is actually a national bid group, kind of like state bid. So Sutphen does state bid, but state bid typically is about 3 or 4% higher than Sourcewell, and Sourcewell is an actual national. So it's like state bid, but it's national. So that's how this bid came about. So we didn't have to go out for competitive bidding, but we did do our due diligence and get 2 bids. So, any other questions?
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you
very
for the
much.
explanation. Thanks, Jonathan. Tax Administrator Leanne?
Thank you, Madam President. I have the September 2022 end-of-month receipt report. Tax collections for September were $2,529,555. September of 2022 is up 68.22% from September of 2021. Year-to-date collections for 2022 are up 12.96%. Tax refunds for September were $29,152.97. Delinquent tax collected with capital recovery was $800. Delinquent tax collected with the Ohio Attorney General's office was $6,192. Tax paid through the e-file portal was $256.72. I have 2 quick reminders. The 2021 tax extensions are over 10/15 of 2022. And then also another quick reminder, please do not send tax documents or credit card information to me by email. I cannot guarantee its security. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me, 513-242-7710. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Leanne. We're now going to go to report of standing committees. Finance, Don Taberkey.
No report.
Thank you. Anybody have a report for Kurt Brickway for safety? Okay. Anybody have a report from Patty Hausfeld for service? Okay. Bob Culverson, Public Improvement.
Thank you, Madam President. CIC next meeting will be October 25th at 6 p.m. in council chambers. Also had a couple residents stop me this week about the potholes or craters on Vine Street. I did reach out to the mayor, who explained that we're in the process of scoping those and securing the fundings for that. And once we do get that approval that we are going to fix them, we will come up with a temporary solution to hopefully keep people safe driving up and down Vine Street until we can get those repairs completed. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Bob. For me, laws, contracts, and claims, I do not have any report. Marketing, Ray?
Thanks, Madam President. Please make plans to attend the next presentation by the St. Bernard Historical Society this coming Monday, October 17th at 7 p.m. in the main level of the municipal building. Reenactor Joyce Browning will present a piece on Mary Draper Ingalls, who was captured by Indians. Don't forget that the Halloween campout is this weekend. All citizens are invited to participate in the weekend activities, whether you are camping or not. The Halloween costume contest and tent or treating will begin at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. Movies will be played both nights starting at 8 p.m. Reminder from the St. Bernard Department that October is Fire Prevention Month, so please test your smoke detectors. If you would like a fire safety home inspection, please call 513-242-9555 and ask for the officer in charge. Lastly, I would like to also thank Layla Kiner and those that helped in making the Fresh Market a successful event. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ray. Business and Industry, Chris?
No report.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to say anything? No? No audience? You? No? Okay. Anybody have any other old business they'd like to bring up? Anybody have any new business?
Madam President,
Yes.
I make a motion, we change the November council meeting to November 17th. Should be the third Thursday.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Don to change the council meeting for the November to November 17th. And it was seconded by Ray. Is there any remarks? Is there approval for that from council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So will be approved to go to November 17th as a council meeting to change that. Is there a motion to excuse the absent members?
Madam President,
Yes, Ray.
I make a motion we excuse the 2 absent members.
Motion made by Ray, second by Don to excuse the 2 absent members. Any remarks? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Absent members are excused. So what I have for the next council meeting is 3 ordinances. One for changing the rules of council to go with the written minutes as the official meeting minutes. The other one is the ordinance number 29 for the Vivo Trust and Vivo Plan. And the other ordinance will be for a new pumper. Is there anything else?
Madam President?
Yes, Johnson.
Just to make sure, again, I can't speak for the auditor, but as far as the ordinance for the purchase of the truck, but wouldn't there also have to be an appropriation ordinance as far as for the transfer of funds? Is that correct?
Madam President,
Yes, sir. John.
sometimes she puts in the same ordinance, purchase and appropriate the funds.
Okay, so it'll be the ordinance for the purchase and for the appropriations for that truck on the same ordinance.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion? Oh, we don't need to make a motion for that. Okay, is there anything else anybody needs? Okay. Oh, the next council meeting will be October 27th, 2022.
Madam President,
Yes, Ray?
make a motion we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ray, second by Bob to adjourn. This meeting is adjourned.